Hello students, welcome back. So in our previous video, we were studying the different process which are involved in performance appraisal. So we have already seen out of 4, we have already seen in detail 3 of the steps regarding performance appraisal. Now moving on to the 4th step relating to performance appraisal, you have something known as an appraisal interview. So what is an appraisal interview is exactly once you finish conducting the performance appraisal. Okay, so now the employee knows their rating in terms of their performance. Now, a one-to-one discussion will happen between the employee and the supervisor or whoever has given them the appraisal. See, for you people also, you take an example. I have given you people marks. Okay, you have written your exam. For that exam, I have given you marks. Once you see those marks, you bring your paper to me and you try to negotiate, ma'am, why couldn't I get better marks for this question? Or why have you given me this many marks for this question? So I will have to tell you that, okay, this is the reason why you have got so much. This is what you're expected to write, which will make you get better. This is exactly what happens in a performance appraisal interview also. So the employee has got their ratings. They will discuss with their supervisor. A one-to-one discussion will be happening between the employee and the rater regarding an explanation for those ratings. In those ratings, if the employee has got a low rating somewhere, the supervisor will give them suggestions for improvement, or if they've got high ratings somewhere, the supervisor will appreciate them and give small motivations here and there. So we'll see the different outcomes of performance appraisal which can take place in an appraisal interview. See, normally in an appraisal interview, you will notice 4 categories of candidates. One category of candidates are those people whose appraisal is satisfactory and who are promotable. This means that there is a vacancy at a higher level in the organization. The employee's performance is good, because of which they are eligible for promotion. A promotion is waiting, it's lying ahead, and soon they will be promoted to a higher post. So here the appraisal interview will involve a discussion on the career plans of the employees, or it will also involve a discussion regarding enhancing the educational level of the employees, which is sponsored by the company. You're having engineers who have completed their BTech. The company will want the engineers to upgrade their skills, due to which they sponsor an MTech program at IISc for the employees. So this is one example of how educational levels can be enhanced for the employees so that they can do their work properly for the company. Now, there are other things also, possibilities, discussions relating to enhancing the job related professional training, more professional training given to the employees so that they can carry out the duties what is required for the higher level post. So this is the content of an appraisal interview for those employees who are satisfactory in performance and who are going to be promoted. Now, the second category are those employees whose performance is satisfactory, but they are not promotable. The reason why they are not promotable, although their performance is good, is because maybe there is no vacancy for that promoted position in the future, in the upcoming days. There is no room for promotion right now. Or maybe promotion vacancy is there, but this employee is not willing to go for a higher position because of fear of those additional responsibilities. The employee is happy with what they are doing right now. So this can also be a situation. In this situation, what happens is the appraisal interview should involve whatever positive feedback the employee has got. Just keep encouraging the employee, keep appreciating the employee, make sure that what good performance the employee has done till now is continuing in the future. Now, in order to send these words of appreciation, it can be like a simple award, like a pat on back or best team player. So some kind of a small award like this can be given, or some kind of cash bonus or something like this also can be given to such employees, or some kind of other benefits like a time off from work, giving them some paid leaves. These are all other ways of encouraging and keeping employees motivated to continue their good work. Now, moving on to the third category of employees, there is a situation where their performance is unsatisfactory but correctable. In such cases, you have to keep giving suggestions on where improvement has to be given. Finally, you have unsatisfactory and uncorrectable. This is a category of those employees for whom you don't have to conduct any appraisal interview. You have to just wait and tolerate the employee's bad performance for some time. And after that, beyond a time where you cannot tolerate their bad performance, you can give them notice and dismiss the employee from the company. So this is what is the objective of appraisal interviews of different scenarios. So we are just summing things up over here. What we have been studying all this while is the performance appraisal process, which involves defining the job, which we have studied, deciding who will do the appraisal, which we have studied in 2 or 3 videos back, conducting the appraisal techniques, which we just saw in the previous video, and appraisal interview, which we saw in today's video. Now coming back to performance management. So performance appraisal is just a part of performance management. The entire process of performance and management involved defining employees' goals, training employees, which we have studied in another module, appraising the employees, which we studied in detail right now, and rewarding employees, which also we studied in this module many videos back. Then finally, you have one topic here. What are the issues and dilemmas in performance appraisal or evaluation? So there are around 6 issues which are given here. Have a look at the first one, something called as a contrast error. This is a situation where you're rating an employee. Yes, of course, there are different types of rating techniques. Okay, some of them have their advantages, some of them have their disadvantages. Now, if you just have a look at this, contrast error is where you're rating an employee not on the basis of a certain criteria like quality, but you're rating them compared to how other employees are. See, there may be many employees there, all of them are good in quality. So rather than giving an equal rating for all of them, you're rating one employee less than other employee because on a comparative basis, he is reduced in terms of quality. I mean, I have already taught you this, there are performance evaluation techniques which works on the basis of a comparison. If that is the scenario, we cannot do much regarding this contrast error. It has to be applied. Move to the second type of techniques. These 2 techniques are a little more relevant when it comes to performance appraisal. You have something known as distribution error. Distribution error is when the rater rates all the employees by using only one part of the rating scale. Either there is an error of, there is a situation of severity in rating where all employees are given a low performance rating because of unwarranted high standards. Okay, so because of this, all the employees are given a low rating uniformly. Or there is also something called as a leniency bias. Leniency error is a situation where all the employees are given a high rating uniformly. Okay, supposing I have conducted a test for you. For all of you, out of 100, I have given only 30, irrespective of whether you have done it well or not. I'm speaking about a severity error. For all of you, whether you have written 2 lines or whether you have written 20 pages, I have given all of you 70 out of 100. What am I doing over here? This is a situation of leniency, giving a high rating for everyone, which is again a distribution error. So there is a lot of catch over here involved. See, what happens is, you need to make a distinct difference between good performing employees and bad performing employees somewhere. What happens is when bad performing employees are given an equal rating just like the others, their motivation to do work will not be there. They will think that anyway I'm going to get ratings, why should I work? Good performing employees will, on the other hand, get demotivated in another way. They will say that we are doing all the hard work and getting 70. Someone who's not doing any work is also getting 70. So why should we work? Okay, so ultimately the problem with a leniency error is everybody will end up getting demotivated and everybody will end up not working. So this should be avoided. You have to make a difference between those who are doing good and those who are doing bad. Then you have something called as errors of central tendency. What is error of central tendencies? It's similar to a distribution error, but the difference here is the rater is using again one portion of the rating scale, the middle portion of the rating scale. He's rating everybody as average, as middle. Nobody is high, nobody is low, everybody is average. This is a error of central tendency. Then you have something called as unclear standards. I think I've explained this concept in the previous slide also. What happens is a rater is rating somebody on the basis of quality. Quality can be defined in various ways. A rater is rating somebody on the basis of creativity. Creativity can again be defined in various ways. So thereby, this problem can be avoided by specifying quality means what is expected out of the employees in terms of quality. Creativity, what is expected from the employees. Clearly, if you define what is creativity and what is quality, this problem will not come for ratings. Then you have an interesting problem called as Horn's effect and halo effect. So both these are situations where you're taking one trait, based on that one trait, you're rating the employee. Because the employee has got a good or a bad rating on that one trait, on all the traits also he's getting a similar rating. So let's have a look at Horn's effect first. This means that if an employee is rated low on a particular trait, this employee will also get rated low on other traits as well, although they may be good in other traits. So for example, supposing in the trait of interpersonal relationships, or in the trait of mingling with team members, supposing an employee is a little reserved, they will get low rating on this trait. How friendly? Okay, so how friendly is the employee? On the grounds of friendliness, a trait, an employee may be given a very low rating because they are not friendly. They keep fighting with team members. They do not gel well with the other team members. They are given a low rating. Given a low rating on terms of friendliness, they will also be given a low rating on the criteria of knowledge. They may also be given a low rating on the criteria of this one, being regular to office. Okay, so this is an example of a Horn's effect. Although the employee might be good in knowledge, the employee might be very regular to office, but because of a low rating on one trait, they will get low rating on all traits. Halo effect is the opposite of Horn's effect. An employee will be rated very well in one trait, because of which they will be rated very well in all the other traits, although they may not deserve it. See, supposing an employee is extremely good at grooming themselves, okay, grooming themselves very well, they come to office. They mingle very well with people. They have very good interpersonal relationship, okay. So by talking itself, they somehow get work done. So on this grounds, they will be given a very high rating. But when you're looking at skills, when you're looking at knowledge, the employee may not be that good in terms of skill or knowledge. It's just because of his speech, he is surviving in the company. But unfortunately, such employees will also be given a good rating in the ground of skill, in the criteria of knowledge, although they may not deserve it. This is called as a halo effect. Finally, you have something called as bias. What is understood by bias is you're rating an employee based on their gender or their religion or their race or their age. Okay, you're just blindly giving a rating based on some of these criteria. Now, this is a very dangerous thing for the company. The company can end up inviting lawsuits. Okay, such employees, if they feel that they have been rated because of being from a particular community or because they are from a particular country, okay, or a particular race, if they feel that, they can always file a case against the company and the company has to end up facing lawsuits. So they have to, whenever, that's the reason, whenever rating is done, it has to be as justifiable as possible. Okay, they need to have evidence. You're giving a wrong rating, you're giving a poor rating to an employee. Where is the evidence for that poor rating? You need to have records. In that way, you can always defend yourself against all these lawsuits. Okay, so with this note, I have completed your module 4. In our next videos, we have just another 2 more modules left. In our next videos, I shall be taking up module 5. Thank you.